You have been lied to, and I'm sorry about it. You have been lied to by the people who told you you just needed to work harder. You have been lied to by the people who told you you just need to post more, you just need to do more. You clearly just don't want it enough. Because if that were true, you wouldn't be here today. You are actively searching for solutions to your problems over and over and over again. And that does not make you somebody who doesn't want to achieve her goals. That makes you somebody who is all in on her business. But you have it confused because you have been told that the only way to grow is by doing more, when in reality, you should probably be doing less. By the end of this training, I want to completely shift your perspective. I want to shift your strategy so that you understand in order to grow your business exponentially, you need to quantum leap. What does this mean? You have spent, and I spent so long doing more because we're told if you want to get more result, you do more of the things that are working for you, right? So there was a time where Instagram content really worked for me, where I did DM outreach, where I did sales calls. So by that equation, if I wanted to get X result, I would need to do more. And I remember one day doing the calculations. And at this point, I had three team members. I had two coaches that worked underneath me, and I had a virtual assistant. And I remember doing the numbers of like, okay, here's how much I'm earning right now. At the time, I was earning like £15,000 a month. I was like, I want to do £150,000 a month. But how would I do that? Well, that means I'm going to have to take, if I'm doing 5 sales calls a week right now, and that means I'm going to have to do, if I want to 10x it, well, I'm going to have to do 50 sales calls a week. And if I'm dealing with 3 team meetings, am I going to have to deal with 30 team meetings? And when we work on a direct work harder equals more result, you will edge forwards. And that's really, really hard. One of my favorite books that broke this concept down is 10x is easier than 2x by Dan Sullivan and Benjamin Hardy, because they speak about when you are doing a 2x move, you're thinking of like, how do I send more DMs? How do I produce more content? How do I do more sales calls? And a 2x mentality would be like, okay, well, batch create content, schedule it out so it's already done. Sales calls, well, I'm probably going to need a sales team, probably going to need to increase my prices, probably going to need to systemize my sales a little bit further. But it is still 2x thinking because your inputs are therefore always a direct correlation to your outputs. And then I got into the feminine business world and I started seeing women who were industry trailblazers that were doing 1 million a month. And I was like, 1 million a month? And then they would be like, yeah, well, I do it all through the DMs. I'm like, through the DMs? Like, I can't even sell a 250 package through the DMs, never mind make 1 million. And then they would say, I do it all organically and I work like, I do like 5 calls a week. And I'm like, what? This is crazy. How are we doing this? And I realized my entire belief system around needing to do more were based on what I had learned. And this is always the concept of like, you can do more of the same thing. This is a concept in the book U Squared, which is another one I was about to recommend, which is such a good book. It's 40 pages, hooks so heavily on quantum leaping. And it's like you can do more of the things that you know work well, right? Like I was making good money. Let's be real. I was making good money. I had a thriving fitness coaching business. I was doing well until I realized that I was doing well through the frame of which I perceive things, through my mind territory, my map. This is what we call it within NLP, my map that I had of the world. I was doing well within that. But as soon as my mind was open to different realities of women earning so much money, creating so much impact, having women, praise their name online without any prompts, without any encouragement. They just wanted to celebrate and thank this person for their service. I was like, whoa, I can keep doing more of the same thing and getting a slightly better result. But what if the thing that I'm doing is the wrong thing? What if it's working okay when I want to be working exponentially? And this really opened my mind up to the fact that the things that you do right now are always based on what you know. And if you want to 10x your business, if you want to have a full freaking quantum leap, we need to redefine what is right for you. This is my favorite thing to talk about because I see so many women work so freaking hard. You are working your butt off, but the results that you're getting aren't like even half worth what you should be. Because hard work and working more and doing more of the same things does not correlate to more growth. Now, I had this conversation with a client last week who said she was trying. Who here? I want you to drop it in the comments right now, like without knowing what's coming next. If you identify as somebody who is already always trying, you're trying to build your business, you're trying to sell on your stories, you're trying to sell your freebie, you're trying to build your Instagram, you're trying. Just drop it in the comments right now if you see yourself as a trier. Because I also saw myself as a trier and I wore it as my badge of honor for so many years. I am the girl that has to try twice as hard as everybody else. I am the girl that, yes, I got a first class degree, but do you know what I also had to do? I had to write 3 drafts of every single essay, 3 times more than everybody else would do to get that grade. I had to retake my maths GCSE 4 freaking times and I got a C every time. I got a C every single time, no matter how much more I tried. And so we have this conditioning of this is how it's always going to be for us. I am a trier. Maybe you see yourself as a trier right now. And triers will always accidentally, subconsciously sabotage their ability to succeed because you associate yourself with being a trier. And so when it comes to actually making money, you're doing your stories, but they're not that intentional. You're building your business, but you're not being a CEO. You're convicted, you're confident, but only on the days that it suits you. So how do we shift from this movement of doing things, trying, working hard, but not really getting the result that we desire? How do we shift our mindset? How do we shift our frame? How do we shift our strategy? Well, we shift our levels of conviction. 10x is easier than 2x, and it's easier to go big. It's easier to be convicted in the big vision than it is to be in the day-to-day small things. Why? Because when you think about going bigger, when you stop thinking about those gradual improvements and you start thinking, okay, what I have been doing cannot come with me to get me to where I want to go, you have to collapse your entire identity. You have to collapse the habits and behaviors that you have. You have to shift old ways of thinking, old paradigms of being. You have to completely reinvent yourself as a human, which is the hardest thing to do. And it's why so many people get stuck in the gradual, incremental work harder because that actually keeps you in the familiar of where you are. It's why everybody loves setting goals, right? And I did this for so many years. Like I said, being the trier, I would always set these big financial goals and I would never hit them. Ever, 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 because I would set the goals, but I wouldn't shift who I was being. I would simply go at it with, let me just work harder. I want to double my income, so let me double the workload. But that is never going to bring you the income, the outcome, the revenue, the impact that you desire because you are still being the old version of you. You are still being the version of you, making the amount of money that you make, going, I'm trying, Evie, but not getting there because you are not being that person. This for me is where mentorship has changed my entire life. Where having somebody who has pioneered and who has been through what I've been through to actually go, hi, Eve, you're self-sabotaging because where you think that you are being a bigger version of you, where you think you are trying, you're not. You're not trying. And I remember my mentor said this to me and it blew me away. And she literally looked me in the eyes and said, Evie, you are not trying. You are playing business make believe. And call it harsh, right? But I needed that love and shove because when you have a big vision, when you have huge goals for your life, like I do, I want to skyrocket my revenue. I want to build a company, a legacy. I want to see what I'm capable of. I want to push myself to the edge. I want to stretch myself. I want to see who I can become along this journey. I want to be the woman who paves the way for other women, who paves the way in the industry, who breaks norms, who breaks beliefs, who is the woman who has come from a small town in north of Wales where nobody very rarely moves out of their hometown. I want to break generational money issues that I have in my family. I want to be able to provide my parents with the chance to pay off their mortgage. I want to be able to provide my family with the chance to go on holiday once a year because they can't do that right now. I want to be that trailblazer. And when I'm saying I'm trying, I'm doing the same things on repeat, but validating it in my mind by saying that I'm trying by doing more, when in actuality, nothing is changing. This is the 2x, and today we are going to completely shatter your 2x moves. You can probably recognize your own patterns as I'm saying this. You can probably recognize where you're posting more of the same shit, where you're doing the same, but expecting a different outcome, where you are sending the same form of emails, the same trainings, the same mindset, the same post, the same service delivery. You were doing the same things in a slightly different form, but expecting exponential results. But exponential results come from doing things completely out of the norm. Like I said in this book, this is what they teach heavily. You cannot keep doing more and more of the same shit and expecting a different result because you are still being the version of you who is getting the small result, who is playing small. When we 10x and we decide to quantum leap and we decide to go for it, we start asking ourselves different questions. It's not what more do I need to do? It's who do I need to leave behind? What patterns of mine do I need to leave behind? How do I hold that level of wealth, visibility, power, impact? And it passes the logical of I need to do more. That's a subconscious pattern that is trying to keep you safe. It's a program that you've been running on, that we as humans have been running on for millions and millions of years, thousands and thousands of years even, where hundreds, I don't know. Look, I'm not a science girl, where I'm more of a woo-woo girl than a business girl. But anyways, we have been running on this logic that the more work we do, the more wealth we create. But we need to decide to bypass that logic and demand conviction instead. What even is a quantum leap and how do we do it? Just looking at my notes here, I'm prepared. A quantum leap is not a gradual improvement. You are not here for gradual results. I am not here for gradual results. I'm not here to go from 10K months to 15K months to 20K months to 25K months. I want to sky freaking rocket. I want to skyrocket and leave everybody going, how the fuck did she do that? I want to shift internally and have everybody go, there's something about you that's changed, but I can't quite put my finger on it. I want to shift my levels of embodiment, my levels of devotion to my business, my levels of desire, my levels of faith, my levels of, I love the word devotion because that's what this truly is. It's a devotion to who I'm becoming. And I want to be the most committed version of me to my business that I have ever been, not by way of doing more and hustling more and thinking that that's how I get the result, but by way of being committed to pushing my edge every single day, by way of living my highest potential every single day. Like even with this YouTube video right now, there have been times where I have recorded like 10 videos in a day and I put them all out and they've been pants. They've been awful. Or I've created 10 pieces of content and you've used AI, right? And it's like, oh, cool. Well, I've done the quantity, but the quality is not good. There's no depth. There's no heart. There's no soul. There's been time even recently I recorded YouTube videos. I'm like, actually, these aren't good. So I don't put them out there because I know that what I put out into the universe, the deposits that I put out will always come back to me tenfold. Maybe not tomorrow, maybe not in a month, maybe not in a year, but eventually because I am being the 10x version of me. Because I am thinking not about what if this YouTube video gets 10 views? This is good enough for 10 people to see it. I'm not thinking like that. I'm thinking this video is going to get 100,000 views one day. So I need to pour my heart and soul into this training to make sure that I get everything that I want to get across properly. Because I am thinking 10x EV. I'm thinking, do I want to look back in this video in a year's time and be like, that was really cringe. I can tell that was half-assed. Or do I want to look back and go, Oh, that was Evie with so much wisdom. That was her on the edge of her expansion. This video facilitated so many quantum leaps that blew up their businesses. The people watching this all went on to become millionaires, create so much impact, create so much like a transformation in their lives and in other people's lives. And I did that. That's what I want. A quantum leap is about 10xing. It's a radical shift in your identity. It's an exponential shift that collapses time and that forms you into who you are meant to become before the logical evidence appears. This is where the conversation around conviction comes in. Because when we are quantum leaping, we are stepping into a realm that doesn't make sense. You are stepping into a result that logically on paper doesn't make sense. Do you understand how incredible that is? Do you understand how freaking sensational it is that we have the ability to do this as humans? That we can literally just decide, hi, I'm done with the results that I want, and I'm not going to work another 25 years to try and incrementally build this result. I am just going to decide that I'm going to collapse time and do it now by radically shifting who I be, and therefore, as a byproduct, the actions I take and the results that I get, the be do have equation. That is insane. If you would have told that to somebody 50 years ago, they'd be like, what? What? My family, my dad has worked 20 years in one company, and over that course of time has maybe like earned maybe £10,000 more a year. We can do that in a day when you run your own business, simply through deciding that you are done with the current results that you are getting. This is the quantum leap. So how do we quantum leap? Well, the first things first is you want to start moving from the future version of you. This happens at the core level of your identity. This happens by really shifting your energy into who you need to be, really shifting as a byproduct your mind. Now, I think of the people, and again, this is why having mentors is so beneficial. And my mentors taught me so much around this, where I thought I would be able to scale to the, 50, 100K months by simply doing the same things. And she laughed and she was like, Evie, no one knows who you are. No one knows who you are. No one knows why your way is the way. Nobody knows who you are. And right now, energetically, you would not be able to hold that level of wealth, that level of impact, that level of influence. Equally, you wouldn't be able to hold the dark side of it. The dark side being, we know that with visibility comes people that aren't going to like you. With more money comes people that are going to default on their payments and going to ask for refunds. With more customers comes people that aren't going to like what you have to say, maybe their hearts aren't open to receiving what you have to say, and therefore they want you to come in and just get the result for them. And there are going to be people that aren't going to like my work. Do I have, and this is where you need to start asking these questions, do I have that level of self-trust and self-belief to be so grounded and convicted in myself regardless? Do I have the ability to have the discernment when somebody is having an emotional outburst that it's a reflection of them and their insecurities and not of me? Do I have the emotional maturity to, if somebody leaves a hate comment or one of my clients all of a sudden turns on me, do I have the ability to not make that mean something about me and not let it ruin my levels of self-worth? These are the questions that you need to be asking yourself to quantum leap. It's not, what do I need to do? How do I make more posts? It's literally on a cellular level, can I freaking hold the level of result that I desire? Can I hold the weight of knowing that hundreds of people are buying my products every single day and that I need to deliver them with potency? Can I hold the level of service that I need to deliver? Can I hold those leadership boundaries when a client is maybe stuck in victim and she's projecting and she's asking for me to do X, Y, and Z, and she's letting me know that she feels frustrated that she hasn't received X, Y, Z from me? Do I have the levels of leadership to pioneer and to reflect that back to her and say, hey, I hear you. I see you. I hold space for you. This isn't what you need. This is what you need. This is what mentorship is for. It's not to give you a step by step. It's to facilitate your becoming. Give you the strategies, obviously, they're all there, but it's a leadership conversation. And this is really how you quantum leap. It's not by doing more or trying to think of like the incremental strategies, but really by shifting your entire identity and actually asking, am I being the version of me right now that could hold that? Do I see myself as that person? Am I committed to the long-term version of me? It's actually safer to commit to that long-term version of you and it's easier than it is to keep doing what you're doing. Because right now you're dipping your toes in, you're half out, you're playing small. The back door is open. You can go at any time. It's like you're committed to your business, but equally you have a backup, right? Your backup is you'll go back to personal training, you'll go back to your corporate job, you'll go back to this, you go back to that. So you don't put any skin in the game. You don't invest in high level mentorship because you're like, equally, I'm scared. I'm scared that I won't make this money back. And do you know what that says to your subconscious? It's like, I don't trust myself that I'm actually going to quantum leap. So no matter how many goals you set, no matter how many times you run through your manifestation journal, what you want to achieve, what you want to have, you don't actually on a cellular level have that levels of conviction, that levels of boldness, that levels of like skin in the game, fire, devotion in your body, in your soul to go, I am going to put my heart on the line and invest in this thing because I know that that is going to facilitate my next level of growth. Do you actually believe that this is possible for you? Because if you don't, your quantum leap won't happen, but equally your 2x won't happen. Your 1x won't happen. You'll stay stagnant, complaining that you're doing all of the things, you're doing all the strategies. You invest short term in things, you invest in, micro strategies and like, oh, well, I didn't get the return on investment, but you forget that it's you. You are the runner of your business. You are in the driver's seat. It's always direct. Your results are always directly proportional to your levels of conviction and your levels of self leadership. This is such a heavy and big conversation, but I really hope that it cracks something open inside of you because I didn't know all of this and I wish I did. I thought when people spoke about like, oh, when I invest in myself, I always, it expands me, and I didn't get it. I didn't get it because the investment didn't really scare me. The investment never scared me. Money didn't scare me. Quite like risk averse. No, the opposite of risk averse. I'm quite risky. I'm quite like a non-risk averse person. But I realized that even though I was investing in myself for a very long time, I would say there was probably like a 12-month period in my business where I was investing, but I wasn't implementing and I wasn't doing the things. And I was still looking for the shiny strategies. And I was putting my mentors on a pedestal. I was putting them on this pedestal of like, you have the answers, give me the answers. And as a byproduct, I gave away all of my power. I taught my subconscious not to trust myself. I taught myself that I was a trier, that I wasn't somebody that would ever quantum leap until my mentor said, like I've told you, she said, you are not even trying. You say you want this result, but you're not even going for it. You're posting, but you're half-assing it. You're half in, you're half out. Energetically, you are not there. And therefore, you are not going to get the result because you don't actually deserve the result because you don't believe that you are capable of it. Why would somebody invest in somebody? Why would a client invest in me if I was not fully committed to my own journey? If I was not fully expansive? Nobody likes somebody who is convicted circumstantially. If you are only showing up and selling when you make sales, if you are only showing up and in a high energy when the results are coming in, you will always, 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 always attract ups and downs. You will not attract the success that you desire because you are believing in your restriction. Do you believe more in your faith, or do you believe more in the faith? We always have these levels of faith, right? And this level of conviction. And sometimes we are more convicted and have stronger faith in the actual chance that it's not going to work out than we do in our result. And as a byproduct, we never get the result that we desire because subconsciously we actually think that the negative outcome is more possible for us. You were so convicted in the negative outcome, you're like, obviously it's going to happen. And you take action in alignment with that. It's crazy. And I wish I knew all of this earlier. This is not about like just manifesting and wishing. This is about choosing to jump into a new identity before the external world validates it. You start seeing yourself as the version of you who already makes the amount of money that you desire, who already has, like even this training, I'm doing this from the perspective that I have 100,000 YouTube subscribers, that I have 1 million clients. I do that from that frame of like, this is who I am. This is who I be. This is the result that I'm going to get. And so I am going to show up as that version of me right now. And you will watch this video in a year's time when I have a huge amount of subscribers. And you're going to be like, holy shit, this girl was onto something. And I'm like, yeah, I've been onto something for a while. I've had this inner identity for a while. I always get comments like, I clicked on your YouTube thinking that you were super famous. And I'm like, well, it's because I am. I'm super famous to myself. And that is the levels of conviction that I desire for you to have, because that is the levels of conviction that will create your actions to be different and your energetic frequency to be different. People feel you before they hear a single word that you say. This is such a big conversation around quantum leaping. And this really is something that will shift your entire life. This is how you hold the power in yourself when no one's clapping for you, when the results aren't coming in, when the results are slow, when you're on a slow month. Do you still believe in you? Do you still follow that 10x version of you? Because I know for sure that I do. I will speak my truth when no one replies. I will invest in high level mentorship, even if I'm on a slow month. I will sell my heart out because I know selling is service, even if nobody buys that day or nobody buys that week. I still be the version of me who is making the amount of money that I desire to make energetically, in my leadership, in my levels of conviction, in my strategy, strategically as well. And that is exactly why I'm quantum leaping. And it is your turn as well. This has been such an incredible episode. I hope you've loved it. I cannot wait to see you quantum leap. The best place to do this is either in my mastermind or my membership. This is daily resources where you are going to facilitate that quantum leap. My mastermind is a 6-month long container. You get access to every single thing that I do, like all my programs, and weekly hot seat coaching with me, and a community of trailblazing women all quantum leaping. All my membership is where there are monthly resources, journal prompts, energetic resources, and strategic as well. Please drop me a comment, drop me a like, drop me a subscribe if you found this episode useful. I can't wait to hear your takeaways in the comments. I will see you there, and have a beautiful rest of your day. I've also actually just decided, spur of the moment, I feel like something's just nudged inside of me. Maybe I've channeled it, but I'm going to upload for you a quantum leap visualization as well. This is a hypnosis that I do, and it's an incredible practice to see yourself as that version. I am going to give this for you for free because I want you to quantum leap and I want to see you win. Okay, bye.